excited, aren't you? I know.
I'm afraid I'll forget to turn it on. That's so quiet.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. Good morning. I would like to call to order this meeting of the Fremont County Board of County Commissioners. Invite you to rise with me for an invocation by Alicia Swearingen from the Royal Gorge Vineyard, and stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, Heavenly Father, we just pause for a moment and we first and foremost lift up our brothers and sisters across the world. God, that your mighty hand would protect and be with them and rescue and intervene. Lord, would you also be with all the countries that are providing aid and humanitarian assistance. God, we just declare your goodness over that situation, that you may be glorified. And Heavenly Father, as we just turn our eyes to this meeting and this time in our county, we just give you great thanks for your faithfulness in our community. Lord, would you be with us now? And would you bless this community and continue to bless the land and the people in it? Give us wisdom as we move forward. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Alicia.
Thanks, Alicia.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner Grantham.
Here.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
County Manager Bryant.
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Simpleman.
Present.
Approval of today's agenda. I know we have a couple of changes that we need to make.
We do, Madam Chair. I have some changes here. We need to remove number 1
Of new business.
of new business and replace it with an MOU between Fremont County Emergency Manager or Management and Golden Age Center. And we also need to remove number 3 from new business. And then that would renumber the next ones 3, 4, and 5.
And I will second that with the changes.
It has been moved and seconded to approve today's agenda with the changes as named. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Up next is our consent agenda. I would like to note we are not making we're not scheduling a public hearing into the future with today's consent agenda. We always like to notify you when that's happening. It's not happening today.
Madam Chair, I would move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and second on the floor to approve today's consent agenda. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We turn next to administrative and informational topics. We begin with staff and elected official reports, and we will start this morning with our county clerk and recorder, Justin Grantham. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. Total motor vehicle fees, sales tax, and recording fees collected for February of this year are $1,112,422.63. Fremont County's portion for disbursement is $650,750.59, which is 58% of the total fees and is $107,482.11 less than February of last year. Year to date, our office is down $66,756.13.
We've been saying it was coming, and it has arrived.
And it's just for lack of vehicles, I think.
And the 40% increase on used vehicles, those are
Right.
pretty high in
Yeah.
the state. So
All right,
I
we
would
need a
move-
motion.
I would move to accept the county clerk's monthly report.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to accept the county clerk's monthly report for the month of February 2022. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Up next, County Manager Sunny Bryant with her County Manager's Report. Good morning, Sunny.
Good morning. So just a couple of quick updates. So we are in the process right now of reviewing all of the applications that have come in from the small businesses or nonprofits for the American Rescue Plan Act grants that the county opened up. That deadline was February 28th, but we have opened up a new round. So if you know of any businesses or nonprofits that have been impacted by COVID through either a loss of revenue or increased expenses that are specific to COVID-related items, please send them to our county website for more information on that grant program. The county website is www.fremontco.com. The next item, so we have scheduled the dates for the spring cleanup program. So we're working on getting the trash vouchers ready to start handing out. Those vouchers will be handed out from April 11th through May 20th. And so if you have anybody that needs to get a trash voucher, we will be getting those ready, like I said, starting April 11th. So we'll be sending out some advertisement information to the local radio, newspapers with those dates. We're also working to schedule an electronics recycling event during that same time, and so that information will be forthcoming. And then our noxious weed director is actually looking at scheduling an herbicide disposal cleanup during that same time. And so we'll have a lot going on, a lot of things that if you have some of those items that need to be disposed of, we'll be getting all of that information out over the county website and then over our county Facebook page as well. And then, like I said, it'll be on the newspaper and on the radio. And then the last item, we do have quite a few job vacancies right now, so if anybody is interested in working for the county or seeing what we have, please go to our county website at www.fremontco.com to see what employment opportunities we have. So,
All right, thank you for that, Sunny. I would mention we had a new employee orientation yesterday. It was the biggest one I've seen in a very long time. I think we had 8 new people starting yesterday, so that was really good to see. Yeah, very, very, very good. All right, anyone else with a report this morning?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things.
Go right ahead.
First of all, it is International Women's Day. So that's a global celebration dedicated to the uplifting of women and honoring their achievements. So thank you to all the women. I've had some very great ones in my life, so appreciate that. One other quick thing.
They had some really great ones too.
There's a floodplain mapping risk assessment going on in Fremont County. FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, is doing a reassessment of the floodplains, and they're starting in Fremont County in March. It'll go for a couple of months. What they do is go in and take a look at the current floodplain, because it changes all of the time. So it may change. Some places that are currently in flood zones may not be, and vice versa. And it may stay the same, but it's going to take a couple months to do that. They're in the county, they're going to try to stay on public ground as much as possible, but some people that have land may be notified that they need to get on their property to do some checking. So if you see that, it is a real thing that's happening. Make sure they are from FEMA, but it is happening, so just be aware of that. That's all I got. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Grantham?
Nothing this morning?
Nothing this morning. The only thing I would mention briefly is for anyone who may not understand, the caucus process is the most grassroots process that there is in all of politics. Both the Republican Party and the Democrat Party held their caucuses this past weekend, and I just want to say congratulations and thank you to all the folks who showed up. We need you there. We need people to start the process with us, so we all appreciate all of you who took your time to do that on Saturday. Anything else? Yes.
I may add that the Democratic Party also held their county assembly on Saturday as well.
I did not realize that.
So
Thank you
their
for
county
that.
assembly is over with, and then the Republican County Assembly will be on March 19th for anybody interested in going or wanting to view the process.
Thank you for that, Clerk Grantham.
Thank you.
All right, up next, it is time for citizens who may wish to address this board on any matter not scheduled on today's agenda. Do we have anyone who would like to rise and approach? please come forward. If you would come to the microphone, turn it on, push that button there so the light turns green. Introduce yourself, and when you're finished, if you would take one of those slips and fill it out and turn it into Sunny here at the end.
I'll
That'd
do
be
it.
great. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Rick Lombardi, Precinct 11, and John and I were just elected as PCPs from the Republican caucus Saturday. I'm here to present to the commissioners the Mesa County summary of the voting integrity that shows many irregularities. I have the executive report and the report from Tina Peters. May I approach?
Yes, please.
I only had
Thank you.
enough for the commissioners, so I have
We can share.
Thanks, sir.
one for you. We were told that the Dominican machines were free of any internet interference. And if you look at the second paragraph here from the Tina Peters letter, there was over 36 wireless devices that can be connected to theirs. And we feel as a group, even at the caucus we discussed this, that there has been irregularities in all of the Dominican machines in the state of Colorado. So we would like you guys to review this. And I know that the report, you can get the 100 pages if you wanted to download it. I don't have that much ink. So I just gave you the executive summary. And I really would like you to take time just to read through some of the points that were alleged against the machines. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you so much, Rick. And John, thanks for being here this morning, and congratulations on your election as precinct captains. Is there anyone else who would like to address this board? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. We have no old business for consideration today, so we'll begin our new business. Item number one, our new item number one, is a memorandum of understanding between Fremont County Emergency Management and the Golden Age Center of Canyon City. This is an agreement for shuttle bus and minivan use during times where evacuation of access and functional needs citizens is required. So I asked Commissioner McFall if he would speak about this morning.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. So after the big fire up there, what was it called? My
Which
boulder?
one?
The latest one. Marshall Fire?
The Marshall Fire?
Yeah. There was a lot of trouble with evacuating citizens who needed assistance, whether it be because they're wheelchair bound or bed bound or whatever. And so the new director of the Golden Age Center reached out, emergency manager Michael Kroll, to offer, they have, I believe it's 14 vans that they can use to mobilize to move these folks if there's an evacuation. Emergency manager Michael Kroll has been working on emergency plans for stuff like this, but I don't think we realize until bad things like that happen how under ready we are. So we've got a memorandum of understanding here so that we can use those vans if needed for evacuation of any kind of situation, whether it's fire, floods, or whatever. The Area Agency on Aging, which is through the Council of Governments, also has the addresses of most, if not all, of these folks that may need help with the evacuation. So they've been working in tandem to create a plan for if it's needed that this can happen. This memorandum of understanding, what it does is it allows the county emergency manager to, he would be the incident commander, to take these vans, and they would have capable drivers of driving these vans. It wouldn't be just anybody jump in, but then be able to go and get these folks, whether it be in Fremont County, Custer County, what do we have, Custer County, Chaffee County, and Lake County. So to help move those folks out of harm's way. So I think it's a pretty good partnership, and it's interesting. I didn't know that Golden Age Center, Fremont Transit had that many vehicles, so I think it's a great deal. I don't know if anybody else has anything to say on that or not.
I would just add my 2 cents, Madam Chair, as far as just giving kudos to our emergency management folks and their ability to dive in on this and to be prepared for the worst case scenarios. And we got some good people ready to help us out and help out our folks here in town in case that need ever arose. So.
Thank you. I would chime in with that, and kudos not only to emergency management, but to the Golden Age Center as well. I think that all of these folks have seen what happened in another part of the state and realized we also could have a need here. And so looking at something that's going on somewhere else that's a really bad thing and maybe being able to help prevent that locally, I think was a really great thing. So I will call for a motion.
Well, I misspoke too, Madam Chair. This MOU is for service area, includes all of Fremont County at this time. That doesn't mean that we could, something in the future might happen for those other counties, but it does that. And I would like to note that this would take effect on April 1st, 2022, and then it would be reassessed yearly unless one of the entities went out of it. With that, Madam Chair, I'd move to approve MOU between the Fremont County Emergency Management and the Golden Age Center of Canyon City for shuttle bus and minivan use during times where evacuation of access of functionally needed citizens is required.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve this memorandum of understanding between Fremont County Emergency Management and the Golden Age Center of Canyon City. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Up next is a letter of opposition for potential collective bargaining legislation. This is something that's been working its way around and through the state legislation, so we're going to turn this time to Commissioner Grantham for a word of explanation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm happy to talk about this little bit of potential legislation that will, I believe, severely impact Fremont County and every other small rural county in the state of Colorado. Presently, I don't believe there is a bill yet that has actually been introduced in the legislature, but it has certainly been a topic of discussion up in Denver, in the state capitol and around the capitol, in regard to mandating collective bargaining on many local governments. The conversation started quite broadly. It included county governments, included municipal governments, included higher education. But since then, higher education and the municipal governments have been taken out of this discussion. Collective bargaining, for those that are wondering, is effectively a unionization, if you will, of government employees. The state has already done that. It was done, I believe, back in 2008 or 2009 by executive order of Governor Bill Ritter for all the state employees. It's an option right now for counties to do this if they so choose. I believe out of the 64 counties, there are a whopping total of 2 counties that have chosen to do this. Adams County and Pueblo County, I believe. Right. Which begs the question, why does the governor, why do some legislators wish to force this on the other 62 counties? Well, mostly because they believe in collective bargaining for government employees, regardless of whether or not the counties choose to do it or not. They want to force it on everyone because they would not choose to do it themselves. There are some serious problems with this when it comes to Fremont County and what this would do to us and what it would do to many of the smaller counties. I think the smaller the county, the greater the impact, negative impact. And there are a lot of counties a lot smaller than Fremont throughout eastern Colorado and southern Colorado. And this would certainly, I'm just going to paraphrase some of the stuff that's in this letter. The letter will be available online on our commissioner's site on the website. But these collective bargaining arrangements would strain the budgets of every county that is forced to deal with them. We do our best, and we have actually just gone through some some major salary increases here in the county in order to attract employees, in order to keep employees. This would effectively put a gun to the head. I apologize for the metaphor, but it would put a gun to the head of the taxpayers of every government that is forced to do this. It would result in salary increases. It would result in the need for more extensive legal services. It would result in greater retirement contribution increases beyond the scope of what our budget can actually afford. Increased burden on our human resources departments and their personnel there, loss of flexibility regarding the work assignments of the county staff. This would create a undue burden on our county and on every small county in Colorado. Most of the small counties, we are fortunate. We have a great county attorney that is able to handle such things as this, but not every county has a full-time county attorney that could handle the complexity that collective bargaining would bring to the table for each and every one of the counties that would be forced into this. The state has vast resources when it comes to lawyers and when it comes to money to deal with collective bargaining. I'm still against it at the state level as well, but that's a fact that it already exists there. But they have the resources to deal with collective bargaining when you talk about all the state personnel that is subject to the collective bargaining agreements. This would also make it even more difficult. Sonny was just talking about the many vacancies that we have on the county level, and a lot of that is a result of COVID and some of the work-related or personnel-related issues across the board in public and private sector. This would only make it more difficult in this post-COVID world to gain and retain employees for Fremont County. We wish to provide as many services as we possibly can for all of our constituents and balance that with treating all of our employees with the dignity, with the respect, the gratefulness for their service that they are due. And this gun to the head of our governments, our local governments, at the expense of the taxpayer is just a awful, awful way to go. We do in Fremont County provide as best we can, and I believe we do provide generous benefits, leave, workplace flexibility. All those things are already there for us, and we don't need to be forced into this collective bargaining situation. On the flip side of that, there's state budgetary impacts as well. There will be services that are in jeopardy here in Fremont County, including road and bridge and human services and all these other things. But some of those things, like human services, law enforcement, public health, elections, all of these rely on state funding. And if some of these costs are forced down on us when it comes to salary increases, benefit increases, et cetera, many of those state services could suffer, and we would require backfilling by the state. And yet, none of these talks about collective bargaining at the state level is talking about how they're going to make the counties whole for all the increased costs that are going to be dumped on us. One of the concluding sentences in our letter of opposition to this idea is that this is merely a solution looking for a problem that doesn't exist. And folks, that is a lot of what goes on up in Denver. Take it from me. This is a solution in search of a problem. And we are in strong opposition to this. And we hope that the governor, this is a letter to the governor, and we hope that he will listen to us, as will the potential sponsors of this legislation. And I move that we approve our signatures on this letter to the governor.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve Commissioner's signatures on this letter of opposition for potential collective bargaining legislation. I would add a note that we also will send copies of this letter to legislation leaders, including the Speaker of the House, the Majority Leader of the House, the Minority Leader of the House, as well as the President of the Senate, the Majority Leader of the Senate, and the Minority Leader of the Senate. So, well spoken, Commissioner Grantham. Thank you for that, and I really have nothing else to add. Is there further discussion?
I have one thing, Madam Chair. We talk, and Commissioner Grantham hit on it pretty well, but we talk about unfunded mandates. This would be the largest unfunded mandate pushed down on counties, I think, that we've ever seen. And the impact of that would be, Commissioner Grantham touched on it again, but I think loss of services is the biggest impact of that, directly on the heads of the community, of the taxpayers. So loss of services, law enforcement, roads, bridge, DHS, public service, all of those could be hugely impacted by that. And the state doesn't have an answer for that. I think we need to get this signed and get it sent off. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess I would add just the quick comment that county governments are the local arm of state government. As the local arm of state government, it feels to me as though we should be partnering with the state, and the state should be partnering with us and making it easier for all of us to do our jobs. And this particular idea feels like it does the exact opposite.
Just one more thing to add on that. As I mentioned, this idea right now is, it started with this larger group of local governments, higher education, municipalities, county governments, and now it's whittled down to the possibility of only being applied to county governments. Make no mistake about it, I would still be against it. We would still be against it if county governments were excluded and it was just cities, or if it was just higher education, or any two of those. The fact of the matter is, this still becomes a gun to the head of the taxpayer when collective bargaining is allowed within government ranks. And the opposition is, regardless if they changed their tune and went with a different level of government, it would still be a negative effect on you, the taxpayer. And so, again, we vote to oppose this.
All right. Let's go ahead and take that vote. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Our next three items of new business are appointing members to different committees and commissions here for Fremont County. Up front, I want to let you all know that we have not only received letters of interest from all of these folks, but we spent a couple of pretty intensive days doing a lot of interviews for all of the people who were interested in these seats. So first, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you who applied, who have an interest in serving your fellow citizens on these boards. So we will begin with item 3, appointment of new members to the Board of Zoning Adjustment to fill vacant seats.
Madam Chair, I would move that we appoint Matthew Landis as board member to the Board of Zoning Adjustment with a term to expire 11/30/2024.
Do you want to go ahead and add the second appointment to your motion?
Yeah, we can, since there's no expiration date. And also to appoint Gardner Fay as a board alternate with no term expiration.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to appoint Matthew Landis to the Board of Zoning Adjustment as a board member with a term to expire 11/30/24, and to appoint Gardner Fay as a board alternate with no term of expiration. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Up next, appointment of new members to the Fair Board to fill a couple of vacant seats.
Should we do these one at a time?
I think we need two of these because of the expiration date.
Expiration
Okay.
dates.
Well then, Madam Chair, I would move that we approve the appointment of Christina Brubaker to the 4-H, the Fremont County 4-H Fair Board to fill a vacancy with a term ending December 31, 2024.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to appoint Christina Brubaker to the Fremont County Fair Board with a term to expire December 31st of 2024. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next appointment.
I would move.
Anyone? Someone?
I'll move, this one is an appointment to fill a term that was vacated, so it's a little bit shorter to start with, but this person, I move to appoint Amy Roland, is that how you're saying it? Borlon, with the term expiring 12/31/22. That is the end of this year, and if she so desires and asks for an extension, we can reappoint her after this term.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to appoint Amy Borlon to fill a vacant seat on the Fremont County Fair Board with a term to expire December 31st of 2022. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And let's do the final item of new business this morning, to the appointment of new members to the Fremont County Planning Commission to fill currently vacant seats.
Madam Chair, I would move that we approve the appointment of Travis Payne to the Fremont County Planning Commission for a 3-year term ending December 31, 2024.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to appoint Travis Payne to the Fremont County Planning Commission with a term that will expire December 31st of 2024. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Finally, we have one more appointment to the Planning Commission to make.
Madam Chair, I would move to appoint Dale McCullough to a term ending December 31st, 2022, and he is stepping in to finish a term of an untimely death of Michael Pullen, who used to hold this seat.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to appoint Dale McCullough with a term to expire 12/31 of 22 to the Fremont County Planning Commission to fill that vacant seat. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Again, I just want to thank everyone who interviewed, who applied, and who is interested in serving. I also will mention we have been doing some other interviews as well. We have one more to do, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we're going to be making some more appointments. So thank you all. All right, the hour has reached 10 a.m. We have a public hearing scheduled. I will call this public hearing to order for conditional use permit 21-002 for the Lions Pit, a conditional use permit approval for a sand and gravel extraction permit located approximately 1 mile south of Texas Creek. The proposed aggregate mining operation would occupy 9.93 acres of BLM managed property for screening, crushing, hauling materials, and stockpiling. And I believe we have Mr. Lyons with us this morning. Would you like to step forward, please, sir? Good morning.
Good morning.
And was there anything you might like to tell us to begin? Just kind of mention a little bit about what your plan is, what you're doing.
We're just going to operate a small mom and pop operation there and process sand and gravel, basically. That's about it.
Okay, questions for him before we move on?
Nope.
No, ma'am.
All right, let's turn to our Planning and Zoning Director,
Sorry.
Micah Simpleman, for a staff report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to start with the referring agency's comments. The Fremont County Department of Transportation says that the access is from State Highway 69, making it unable to determine what the additional impact will be on the county roadways. They are requesting the opportunity to comment at the annual review once the impact can actually be determined. The Fremont County project engineer states that all of his concerns had been addressed in the site map drawing and feels comfortable recommending approval on this project. Excuse me. Fremont County Department of Public Health and Environment, they stated that under required a portable chemical toilet may be used by permitted from the Fremont County Board of Health. The applicant must petition the Board of Health and receive approval prior to applying for the chemical toilet permit that is reviewed and renewed on a yearly basis. This department also noticed that the applicant has no refusal plan. It is in the opinion to the Fremont County Environmental Health and Department that the plan be addressed in some manner. And as for my department, we have no concerns at this time. We do recommend approval with the contingencies. The contingencies will be completed prior to recordation of documents authorizing approval for the applicant in the land record, in the land records of Fremont County. Number one would be the duration of the conditional use permit shall revise to mirror the term of the BLM land lease or contract. Revise the site plan prepared to professional standards, drawn at a common increment scale between or including 1 inch by 50 feet or 1 inch by 200 feet. Revise the table contents notes on the site plan to reflect that there are buildings on site. Include the required setbacks for the proposed portable office and porta potties on the site plan, and remove the note on the site plan that reads, request waiver for not painting equipment.
All right, thank you, Micah. Questions for Micah at this time?
No. That sounded convincing, didn't it?
Are you sure?
No.
Questions for the applicant at this time? Comments?
No, I'm good for
now.
For now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you would like to say before we open it to public comments, sir?
No.
Okay, if you would like to take a seat for a moment. Anyone who is here to speak either in favor of or in opposition to this particular permit may now come forth, and if you would like to step up to the microphone. We also are going to ask you to fill out one of these slips of paper, but you can do that after comments. So, sir, are you waiting to speak?
Yes, I've got a lot of questions about this.
All right, come on up. Go ahead and state whatever you would like to state.
Michael Tracy, I live about 3 miles from the site. I'm wondering how much stone's going to come out of there. I'm wondering how much traffic it's going to create. I'm wondering what the lifespan of the project is, what effect it'll have on the wildlife in the area, whether or not it'll be visible from the road,
From which road, sir?
Highway 69.
Thank you.
And what benefit it has to the Cotopaxi, Texas Creek area, and overall the county of Fremont.
Is that it?
That's pretty much it, yeah.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to rise and speak? Please come on up to the microphone. And if you would identify yourself first.
Hello, my name is Laura Longo. I happen to live closer to the proposed pit than Mr. Tracy. I'm for this. I don't see there's any problem since we already have a pit adjacent to that pit that's run by Fremont County Department of Transportation. I also realize that beside that, there are significant numbers of trucks already hauling gravel from West Cliff and Canyon City back and forth through the Custer County, one being Cipher and another being Colorado Quarries. So I don't, with the exception of wanting to know how many additional trucks will be pulling through there every day, I don't see a problem because it already exists there. And there's already a pit there run by the county.
All right, thank you so much for your comments. And yes, if you would fill that out and turn it in at the end down here, that'd be great. Anyone else who would like to speak? Okay, seeing none, we are going to close this portion of the public hearing and ask Mr. Lyons if you would like to come forward and answer some of those questions that were just asked of you as the applicant.
I can't remember the full list of what he had, but like, most of it was addressed by the BLM, the studies on they have an EA book that they gave us that I can get him a copy of. It addresses the pollution, the air, the noise, the vision. There's no visual impact from the roads. This all went through the county office, and all the studies have been done and approved, but we have all that information for him if you'd like to see it. I don't know. If there's any specific question you'd like to ask one question, I can sure answer it.
Well, I think he did, and I can help answer this because it's in the application, but how much material are you planning on taking out of there?
As much as I can.
Okay. And the traffic, I think in the application says 0 to 5 trucks possibly a day.
Yeah.
The wildlife, you can only stockpile between December and April, I believe.
Yes, sir.
And you can only, because of the severe winter use, the deer use it. And then April, May, so that would be May through December you could haul or crush.
Yeah.
And that was all in the application, and the BLM material, as you spoke of. The other one that he asked was...
He asked about lifespan and visibility.
Yeah.
Lifespan of the pit?
Well, we'll have a 10-year permit with BLM, and then it'll mirror, like he's suggesting, it'll mirror your guys' CUP will mirror that, and then I would like to go for an extension in 10 years, you know, possibly make it a 25-year life expectancy of the pit total, but 10 years is the initial.
The other question was view from 69. There's a ridge there between those pits and 69. You can see the road going in there, but that's it, correct?
Yeah,
I mean, you can't see
won't be able to see the pit area.
pits at all. The other thing was, what benefit is it to Texas Creek, his question, Texas Creek, Fremont County?
It'll lower the cost of materials in that area because otherwise you're bringing it from Canyon, which is more impact on the roadways and, you know, people coming down Highway 50 with, you know, a load of gravel versus there going to the Cotopaxi area, you know, it's closer. Maybe a cost savings, I'm not for sure. I don't know.
So is your target market then in the area?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm not a big landscaping company or nothing. We just do small.
So it's,
I've got an excavating business in
the material you'll pull out will stay in the,
Denver.
right.
Yeah.
Or even up to Salida necessarily?
I mean, if somebody wants them,
Right,
I'm
right.
gonna refuse them, obviously,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, my target area is that area, the Cotopaxi. We
Gotcha.
do a lot of work up in North Cotopaxi in that area and up Tallahassee and different places, and it seemed like a good spot for a pit.
Okay.
How will the dust be mitigated?
We'll have a 6,000-gallon water tanker on site at all times. If the dust comes up, then we will deal with it with the water that we have on site. It's in our
This might be a question for you, Mr. Simpleman. Is there a time that they can work?
Yes, sir. I just had it, excuse me. So according to their contract with BLM, it's Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you don't mind me also stating that visible from the highway, it is not visible. In fact, my code enforcement officers, when they went up there to do their initial inspection, they had a hard time finding it. So it is not visible from the highway, sir.
Is this pit going to create new jobs for Fremont County?
Possibly. I mean, I don't know that. I don't know how much we'll sell yet until we get it open and start with that. I ain't gonna promise we'll make new jobs, but I've got a crew of 3 people in Custer County that I employ at my current pit. And, you know, I'm sure we'll have the same thing there.
And your, excuse me, your proposed plan is to extract gravel for landscaping only, correct?
Roads and.
Roads as well?
Driveways.
Road
and
base, okay.
There'll be landscaping material, you know.
Including
we have a screen
landscaping.
that breaks it out into all different kinds of material as it comes out. We'll have crushed rock and decorative rock,
Okay.
road base, and
Other questions?
No, just a comment, I think. The NEPA process through BLM is sometimes a little too much, I think. But they do a great job of doing an environmental assessment all the way around, whether it be birds, ground, impact to the whole thing. So, you know, a NEPA study, like I said, sometimes I think it's a little too far, it gets a little too deep, but they do a great job of that. So it's on BLM land, and they're not going to let anything happen there that is going to destroy the property or whatever, and then you'll have to reclaim it back as you go. No, just a statement on that NEPA part.
Right.
We already have the reclamation bond in place now, so it's all done and completed.
Micah, did the weed manager, were there any noxious weeds or anything up there to be worried about?
I did not see anything.
And she couldn't do it now. I think that's one thing, the weed management plan, to be sure that we don't spread those seeds if there are any.
The vegetation is so sparse on that lot, it's real limited. With mining reclamation people, they come in and did a study and said, man, there just isn't no vegetation here, just because of this type of soil and where it's at. And so we're not really impacting that. And that NEPA thing you were talking about, there was a deal where the migratory birds, so like the trees that we take out, we can only do it during a certain season because the migratory birds are coming in and out. And so we will respect that and everything they want on that. So.
A refuse plan to take care of any trash or waste has been brought up, but I haven't really heard an answer for that.
We did have a reply to that. We're going to have a lone wolf disposal from Fremont County. Pick up the trash. We'll have them do it. We were going to have the Custer County, we'll have them do our porta potties also. They also have a porta potty business within there. So we'll get that from them.
Okay. And I would like to direct this one to Mr. Simpleman. I have seen a couple of references to no lighting is planned. I'm asking specifically, are there any waivers that the department is recommending?
No, ma'am. We're not.
Okay.
We're not requesting any waivers on that.
Okay, thank you. Gentlemen?
No.
Anything else?
No, I don't have anything else. I'm good.
The chair is prepared to accept a motion for whoever wants to tackle this.
I'll tackle it.
Yeah. By all means.
I would move to approve CUP 21-002 for the Lions Pit. It's a conditional use permit for sand and gravel extraction from a pit located approximately 1 mile south of Texas Creek. The proposed aggregate mining operation would occupy 9.93 acres of BLM managed property for screening, crushing, hauling material, and stockpiling. That to include 5 contingencies. One is the duration of the conditional use permit be mirrored to the BLM permit, which I believe is 10 years. Revise the conditional use permit to the standard drawn common scale, which is 1 inch equals 50 or 1 inch equals 200. Revise the construction table of notes on the conditional use site plan to reflect that there are buildings on the site. Include the required setbacks and proposed portable office and porta potties on the conditional use sign. And I think, remember, these are contingencies. Let's get those refuse and porta potties in place before you start. Remove the note on the CUP and the site plan that reads a waiver request for not painting equipment.
Yeah, I thought the planning commission struck a lot of those out of there. Like there was what, 6 of them?
They did strike some out.
Yeah, I would.
So I would, yeah, I want to follow up on
Because
that
the
because I
distance
was
on the
wondering the
porta
same
potty
thing.
is-
You're sitting here.
Okay, we need a second before we can really discuss the motion. And then
We can revise the
we could
motion.
revise the motion if
So second.
necessary. Okay, all right. It has been moved and seconded to approve CUP 21-002, the Lions Pit, with the 5 contingencies as outlined. Sorry. And Commissioner Grantham, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
so just to follow up on your question, and Micah, this is probably for you, because we have the list of the 5 recommendations and the contingencies from staff. And then we have 8 from the Planning Commission. 3 of them are crossed out, so we have 5 and 5, but some of these are, I'm trying to understand the differences here, because some of the ones crossed out are the ones that on the staff recommendation.
I believe what we're asking for when it comes to the office and the porta potty is that you just note on the site plan that they're still going to be within the setbacks of the regulations.
So what is the
if they
setback
are
for a
moved,
porta potty? I mean, there
Yeah,
isn't.
they're temporary structures.
Yes.
So I'm
Putting
not
them
trying
on
to
the
argue
site
with
plan
it, but
doesn't
it's-
make sense if they're gonna be moving them around, because they're temporary structures. It can be a condition that they remain within the setbacks at all times, but showing them on the site plan as temporary structures, that if they're gonna be moved, it doesn't mean much, so.
And where we're not mining, they'll only be there for 8 months. They
Right.
won't be there for the full 12 months, so they'll be pulled off, and then you come up there, and it's a conditional use, and if I don't meet the conditions, then it's
Right.
null and void later, so I'd rather be able to meet all your conditions.
So,
I can actually amend that motion to remove number 4, which was the as a condition, or as a contingency, because that's what I was reading, is the setbacks on the proposed portable office and porta potty, and make that a condition. Is there any other, will that work, Commissioner Grantham, and was there anything else?
well, yeah, I'm just looking at these other crossouts here on the planning commissions. Revise the conditional use site plan to depict the 160 square foot portable office. Okay, so there's 2 of them that deal with the portable office and the chem toilet.
And again, I don't think any portable structure should be should be shown on the site plan.
Right.
Okay, and that wasn't part of the original motion anyway,
Yeah,
that number 3 there on that's crossed
No,
out on
it
the
was
planning
not.
commissions.
it was not.
And then the number 7 that's deleted is, or crossed out, I should say, revise the CUP site plan. Painting of equipment, buildings, to state the painting of equipment and buildings.
That one is, remove the note on the CUP site plan that reads, request waiver for not painting equipment.
So that's also part of the motion that's crossed out on the planning commissions.
Yeah, and it must be on the site plan.
Yeah, we was asking for a waiver not to have to paint our equipment because nobody does, the county don't, Danny don't, and, it's not a real thing, but it was one of the questions on.
Yeah, the way I see that, it is on the site plan, because it says revise the site plan, the one that's marked out, revise the site plan that states, and on this one, it's saying to remove the note on the site plan that says request waiver for not permitting, but would that be a waiver that you're requesting?
Well, actually, we're asking them to remove it from there because it's not a concern of ours. The reason why it was on the originally is because on the EA from BLM, it stated that. I believe it stated to paint your equipment to blend in with the environment or
There's
something
an
like that.
option, and then your office took it to a new
And
level.
we had that in there because that was basically what BLM was kind of requesting, but we agree with the planning commission that that does not need to be on, and that's why we were just saying, take it off, it doesn't have to be a waiver.
So because it is not a Fremont County requirement, it does not need to be a waiver.
No, ma'am.
But it is on the site plan requesting
needs
a
to
waiver
come
and needs to come off per
Yeah, yes,
the
sir.
motion.
That's no problem.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so the motion, that
Yeah.
stays in the
Yeah.
motion then? Okay.
The way I read that, that was why I was concerned, is that maybe later they'd ask me to paint my equipment, I was like, well, no,
Right.
I don't want to, but I'm not an educated guy, and reading this is kind of.
So Commissioner McFall, did you amend?
I have not, but I can. I can amend, I would amend the motion, revising it, taking the 4th contingency out, which was include required setbacks, proposed portable office and portable potty on the conditional site plan, and make the portable chemical toilets a condition of the CUP.
I would second that amended motion.
Okay, we have a amended motion and a second for that amended motion on the floor. Is there further discussion? All done? All done. All right. We do have an amended motion and second on the floor to approve CUP 21-002 for the Lions Pit with the contingencies as mentioned in the original motion as well as the amendment. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham. Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, Mr. Lyons, we wish you luck.
Okay.
All
Can
right.
I introduce myself to him real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
We're done there.
All right, and there being no further business to come before this board, we are adjourned.